What's up, everybody? Welcome to From the Forum, your Friday night show. Tonight, we're talking standouts, sleepers, and saviors. The guys you can't leave the draft without. The guys that nobody else knows about that you need to grab. And the people that are going to come in the back half of the season to help you win your league. So sit tight. Here we go, From the Forum. What's up, everybody? 9 o'clock, Friday night. We're here, and I got some guests with me tonight. I got my guy, Johnny May. I got Bob Lung, the consistency king. And, of course, Joe the man Frick. I freaking love it. Man, is it just me or are you guys, Bob? I mean, are you hype? I know you're getting ready for the Expo. Are you hyped for the season? It feels like it's starting like today.
I'm hyped from the moment it ends. Especially after last year when I made the playoffs in 12 out of 15 leagues and won 0 titles.
Whew.
Yeah.
Ooh, that hurts.
That doesn't make you drink a lot. I'm not sure what does. So then I'm like, okay, next year. I'm like, next year I was 7. Geez.
That's most people. We got some folks popping in the chat. Ben McCown, let's go. Amber, what's up, Amber? Kevin, yo, what's up, Kevin? Ben, George Kittle has been my most drafted tight end in the last month.
As he should be.
As he should be. Luis Perez, Bo Nix to the moon. And Dustin, what's going on, fellas? Hey, thanks all for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe. And tonight, we're going to be covering this content, but make sure you drop your questions in the chat, so we can help you make your decisions as you get ready. Draft season starting. I've already started my first redraft league, and I'm like, oh, my gosh, it's so early. Scott Fishbowl live drafts are happening. Joe, you got yours this weekend. Cincinnati just drafted. It's getting crazy. Oh, yeah. And of course, we're what, 2 months, not even 2 months. Yeah, 2 months out. Not even 2 months out from the fantasy
7 weeks.
Expo.
Yeah, weeks
from today.
It's going to be a blast. And we're going to cover some of that tonight too. But we're going to kick this right in. So, our first portion of the night right here, we're covering my guys. These are people, like, as we enter the draft that we can't leave without. Like, number one, I got to get it. Like, this is going to be one of my league winning players, that's going to be consistent on my team all season. And so, Bob, I'm going to throw that first one to you because the word there was consistent. And I know you have the consistency guide that you release every year, which is an absolute incredible publication. If you're watching, make sure you go check it out. Bob, if you would just drop that link in the chat so they can find it. But yeah, the league's one of players that can consistently perform for you, and so Bob, who's your number one for you this year?
I mean, if I'm picking from number one, I'm probably going to go just Jamar Chase. And I know every running back person's butt cheeks just squeezed up. And I'm sorry. But the numbers he put up last year in a season that went well, but let's remember, T. Higgins was kind of like in and out mentally. That's in that season. He was playing hard enough not to get hurt so that he could get a new contract. Now he's been paid. Jamar's been paid. Joe's already been paid. Their defense literally can't stop anyone. It would not surprise me if Joe breaks 50 touchdowns. He had 43 last year, 42, somewhere in there. So Chase is my guy at 101. But as you mentioned, the consistency thing. In the first round, if you're not walking away with somebody who in the past, and the guide will tell you that, has not been over 80% consistent in any season, don't draft them. There are a lot that have. So there's a reason that those people were in round one. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Saquon, Gibbs, Bijan. They're all there. And as long as they stay healthy, they should put up that 80% plus. Now, you really want them to be 90% plus, like Bijan and Gibbs last year, who were both 100. That's what you want. So I'm not going to argue with somebody who goes, I wouldn't take Chase first. I would take Bijan. I'm not going to argue with them. They were 100% consistent. I get it. So was Jamar, but Jamar could put up a hell of a lot more points. So, that's my guy at 101. Anybody who is going to be in an 80, 90 percentile, even at the end of round one. I mean, you've got people like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, Monron St. Brown. I mean, there's just so many. Puka Nacua. All of those guys are certainly worthy. Everybody always asks, well, what position do you want to draft out of in the first round? I go, none of them scare me. I'll take any one. I don't get Jamar Chase if I pick 12th. I get it. But hence why you should do an auction, right? We've talked about this. But you can always win from any role. There should be no reason. If you know what you're doing and you've got the consistency guy and you got these guys helping you, there's no reason you should be able to walk into any draft and be afraid of drafting from a certain spot ever. You should have the confidence. You should have the knowledge. You should have the data that you can go through and still win from whether you pick 12th or pick first or you pick 7th. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
I love it, Bob. And BHS Cardinal 16 popped in there. He, she, whoever loves it. We got Andrea. Hi, everyone. Got Albert. What's up, fellas? What's up? Got Chris, the card man. What a crew. Appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Jamar Chase, 17 touchdowns, 1,700 yards. It's hard to turn your head on that at all. And I think that you hit a point. Like when your first pick's happening, you got to grab somebody that you can count on to be your league winner. And sometimes that means you have to reach. Like maybe you're in the back half and the guys like Bijan, Jamar Chase, like these guys are gone, and you've got to reach somebody that you really like in the second that might not be there. Johnny, who's somebody for you that you, no matter where the draft spot is, you can't leave without this year?
One guy that I am like really, really uberly high on, and I feel like he can be this year's Cortland Sutton, is Calvin Ridley. And one of the reasons why I really love Calvin Ridley is last year he still got to 1,000 yards with Mayo, aka Will Levis, throwing him the ball. Mace, our guy Frick throwing him the ball. He was 18th in targets last year. And even with really bad quarterback play, he still was able to get to wide receiver 28 last year. And the Titans last year, they were bottom 8 in passing yards per play. I think that number obviously goes up with Cam Ward showing up now to Cashville. So for me, he's a guy that saying it's 7th round. If I can have a chance to get him, I think he's got some high upside to be a wide receiver 2, high-end wide receiver 2, maybe even better than that right there. But I'm all in everywhere I could possibly get Calvin Ridley in drafts this year. I'm cashing that check.
I past 2 seasons over 1,000 yards, and last year, this is the crazy thing about the wide receiver position. Wide receiver 28 on the season put up 1,000 yards last season. Like these offenses are getting crazy, and it's fun for us to watch, right? It's fun for fantasy, but 1,000 yards and really even at wide receiver 28, you're not drafting him at 28. You're drafting him like he's wide receiver 32, 37. People are still worried about the Titans. They're still worried about Ridley because despite him putting up 2,000 yard seasons the past 2 seasons, it doesn't feel like he did. It feels like he did a 600 to 700 yard season last year. And I think it's because the Titans and Levis were all so bad. But, sometimes you got to think about the lens that people are looking for. Johnny, I love that pick, especially at the cost because he's going to be cheap for you. Joe, give me a good one. Who's there for you?
All right. So we talked a little bit about this one before the show. I think that this is becoming a more commonplace thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I wish that they would stop. This person has been a perennial top 10 player, but is not being drafted as one, at least at their position. So for me, it's Alvin Kamara. If you look at best ball rankings right now, he's going as RB19. His worst finish in his entire career is RB16. If you look at top 10 finishes, all but 2 of his years have been a top 10 finish. So to be able to get that in the 3rd round, 4th round, I really like that a lot. The other thing that's interesting is, so people are saying, hey, like, like running backs, you want to look at running backs that are going to be on a good team. They are going to see the correlation of like, hey, like if you look at running back performance, you're going to have more carries when your team is winning games because you're able to control the ball, control the clock, do all those things. It doesn't really matter with Alvin Kamara just because of the receiving prospectus that he has. The other thing I really like about Kamara, and I've said this a couple weeks ago, if you look at Kellen Moore and the pace of play that his offenses run, they are going to average 60-plus plays per game. They don't have a lot of depth behind him. Yes, they have some unproven players with Kendre Moore getting a clean slate. They have some rookies that they brought in like Devin Neal that might be able to make some noise, but everything's lining up to not having a good quarterback or an unproven running back or an unproven quarterback. Outside of Chris Olave, who's had health issues, like where are they doing in the receiver room? All things point to Kamara having another good season, so I'll take him all day, every day.
Yeah, no, I 100% behind you on that one. Last year he was 9th in total. Now remember, he was 9th in total points, and he missed 3 games.
Right.
Yeah.
His consistency was 93%. He was up. He literally ranked 6th in consistency. The only people ahead of him, Gibbs, Henry, Bijan, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, and Kyron Williams. Yeah. And like you said, and he's going at running back like 17. Come on.
Yeah.
And the rookie quarterbacks play into that too. He's going to have either a rookie quarterback, he's going to have a really a Spencer Rattler or something, or he's going to have his rookie quarterback, and it's going to be dump off city. It's going to be everything we want. The only thing that you're worried about with Kamara, which he's actually been pretty good on, like you said about consistency, right, is injury.
It's staying healthy, right?
Yeah, he plays, and when he gets tons of work. Love that pick, Bob. Give us another one for you, maybe a little bit later in the draft. That you think?
How late?
Let's go. No, I mean it can be whoever. Just give us another one, maybe round 3 on that you got your target in really heavily this year.
All right, let's talk about some undervalued players, and let's go to the running back position because we've already talked about Kamara, but this is a guy that I have drafted every year the last 2 years for sure, maybe 3 years. He is always in the top 10 in consistency, but he always misses a few games. He also is the number 2 running back on his team. And yet last year he was 86% consistent as the
so Bob, real quick, when you're talking about consistency for people that are unfamiliar with that concept, like what does a consistent performance look like in your mind?
Excellent question. Glad you asked. So in a PPR format, running backs and wide receivers are both at about 11 points a game. Tight ends are at about 8.5. Quarterbacks, non-PPR, doesn't matter on PPR. 4 points for passing touchdowns is about 20. This guy is 86% consistent and has been over 80% the last 3 years. His name is David Montgomery.
Mandatory.
And no one picks this guy as their RB2. In every year, his consistency is RB1. And so what's he going? RB.
Montgomery is currently RB 23.
RB 22, 23, round 5, round 6. What?
Yeah.
So I can get 5 people ahead of him. So whether it's 3 top wide receivers, maybe a tight end, maybe a quarterback, and then I can take as my RB2 David Montgomery, who's 80% consistent every year. As long as if he can stay healthy for 17 games, holy. I mean, so he was on all my Kings Classic teams. He was he was on most of my teams. I mean, maybe one or two I didn't sneak him in. But this guy every year is that mid 5th, 6th round guy that I sit there and, oops, he fell to me again. Boom.
Yeah.
There it goes. He's just my personal favorite. He's not, he's not going to score 25, 30 points in a game. He's not, because he's got Jahmyr Gibbs. But what he will do is score you 15 a week, every week, as your RB2. And if you can get that, kids, in the 5th or 6th round, it's not even fair. Not even.
Dig that.
Dig it. Yeah, you got Lewis in here, RJ Harvey, which is another question mark. The RJ Harvey's rise has been crazy. But obviously with the J.K. Dobbins thing, you got a little reprieve. But, then there is the question mark of J.K. Dobbins, which we might get to later. Sup, all of you amazing people from Chef TPTB.
Is he the guy that made you that filet? Oh, that was your wife. Never mind. Maybe that's your wife. Maybe your wife is Chef TBTB. I don't know.
No, my wife's right.
Goes to count.
My wife has already gone to bed and is probably sitting in there reading a book. She ain't paying me no mind. Johnny, give us another one, man. Let's let it light it up. Give us another one.
This one here, man, this is actually a rookie for me that I'm looking at.
All right.
And I'm doing it not for Frick, but I believe in this guy. I believe in Caleb Johnson, and I believe in what the Pittsburgh Steelers have got going on, man, as far as running the ball. Like, we know what it is. We know Tomlin's going to run his guys into the ground. Najee Harris is gone. 263 carries just floating around out there. You were talking about volume a little bit earlier on. Jalen Warren, I don't think he's seen over 125 carries his entire career at Pittsburgh. And the other part about it is this offensive line. Like, they're young, and I don't want to be late for my team. And if I can cash in on a guy like Caleb Johnson, who's been going, what is this here? He's been
RB25.
Running back, like right around the 7th round. He's somebody I think later on in the season can pay huge dividends, for you. You talked about like the flex position or even possibly getting to a running back too. That's a guy that I'm trying to leave every single draft with, and I'm hoping he doesn't steam up towards August. But that's my guy. And then again, man, back to the offensive line, average age of 24. Everything can come together for this group. Aaron Rodgers, they've talked about, want to utilize the short passing game, obviously play action. So Caleb Johnson, I'll take a shot on him for sure, man, and leave the draft with him.
All right. Love that. I mean, I love rookies, especially rookie wide receiver. No, here's the thing, Bob. You see, you know where that belt came from behind me over there, right? And we'll talk about the Expo.
Amazon.
We'll talk about the Expo.
I can't complain.
We'll talk about the Expo in just a second. But I actually drafted Christian McCaffrey first in that league, and then took the hit, right, because he didn't play. And so you want to know how I won? I drafted rookie wide receivers. I had BTJ, I had Ladd McConkey, I had Xavier Legette, and I took them all late, And so by the time I got to the end of the season, they were popping, And
but he's talking about a rookie running back. That's
I know. I agree. Rookie running backs are different. Rookie running backs are different.
They're different, but I think he's probably the one that cost you the least at this point. Like between Hampton,
I don't know about the least. If he's RB25, he's not costing you the least, bro.
Hampton, and RJ Harvey, those guys are going ahead of him, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So but, I mean go ahead.
Yeah. No,
Hey guys, on this show, it's okay to disagree.
Yeah,
and I am.
Right, same.
So just for some context for the people that are listening, watching, whatever. So if we're looking at the RB rankings, so as far as rookies go, so Genty's RB5, then you jump down to Amari and Hampton RB15, which somebody that's not going to be the starter at the beginning of the season feels incredibly steep. Yep. You have RJ Harvey at RB20, Henderson RB21, Judkins RB24, Caleb Johnson RB20.
Judkins, yes.
Yeah. Now you're speaking my language. You're talking my language, Bob. Judkins also.
There's nobody ahead of him.
Henderson. It's weird that the rankings have Henderson a little bit ahead of Judkins. In most drafts I've seen, he's gone later, but in your wide receiver heavy, like your drafts where you go wide receiver heavy, and maybe you take Chase, maybe you stack wide receivers for your third. You go 0 RB, right? If I go 0 RB. Like those two guys, like Henderson, Judkins, like maybe even a Johnson, but I would rather have a Monty personally, but they're in that same tier. But like those guys will be there after you get 3 to 4 stud wide receivers. So I don't hate that either.
I do think that's slightly skewed because it like the rankings and like the ADP we have right now is primarily best ball. So Henderson definitely has that like best ball upside that you can afford for him to not really do anything, but he's the kind of player that could break it for 25. So that's probably a little bit reflected in the rankings. I think that I would expect him to fall a little bit in a redraft scenario just because he's more of the pass catcher to Ramondre Stevenson. So that would be my hypothesis on that.
Ramondre's washed. Chuck usually goes last after Caleb. Chef said then it goes Scat and Tootin. Now those two guys are people that I'm not going near personally. But so speaking of the Kings Classic, speaking of drafts, well, we talked about it for a second. Okay.
Doesn't Joe get the answer?
Huh?
Didn't Joe get the answer?
Sure. We can let Joe answer real quick. Joe, give me one more.
Hold on, I got to get my belt that I have too.
Okay.
Mini belt for
the Bret Hart belt, baby.
Yeah, I won the Kids Classic last year.
Kids Classic.
Yeah, we drafted in crayon. It was great.
You beat out your 8-year-old nephew and 6-year-old.
They've never heard of football, but it was fine. Yeah. So my second guy for this year is I'm going to keep this one quick. So it's Jacoby Meyers. If you look last year, he had 129 targets last year, right? He had no quarterback game. Everybody's foaming at the mouth for Brock Bowers, but Jacoby's that dude. I think that Geno Smith, he's a really good fit for this offense, actually. Pete Carroll knows what he can do, and they got to throw the ball to somebody other than Bowers. He's going to be your second target option, but he is capable of being a boundary receiver, can move him around. If you look at people that have 129 targets, they're probably supposed to be a top 24 receiver. He's going as wide receiver 40. So for me, that's like somebody that you can have a hot start to. You trade it from somebody that's struggling. He's that not sexy pick, but he can do you some good.
May I read from page 100 in the consistency guide?
Please.
This wide receiver, who you just spoke of, the last 3 years has ranked 22nd, 29th, and 28th in consistency. That means he's been a wide receiver 2 once, wide receiver 3 twice in 3 years. I guarantee you, if you went through every wide receiver, you might find maybe 15 of them that have done that or higher. Some of them have failed in one of those years. They may have had 70 or 80. But Jacoby Meyers every year. And then his total points rank 19th, 24th, 28th. Like you said. And the guy's going 42nd. Again, he is the David Montgomery of wide receivers.
Yeah, that's a great comp. That's awesome. Yeah. I love that. I love it. Heavy. I got to put it down.
Let's see that Denny's map draft. Got some love over on Twitter. Morning man, love the energy on the stream.
I'm pretty sure that's spam, but yeah.
And then Amber, speaking of drafts, Bob and I have a date at the Expert Leagues draft, the FSGA, to take you down, sir. That'll be fun.
Oh, Amber's going to draft against me?
I guess so.
Oh yeah, Amber's been prepping hard. She's ready. We talked about it the other day. Amber's gonna.
I'm not saying a word the rest of the show.
Look, Bob, it doesn't have to be me every time. I got some. I got some just.
I want Amber to sit beside me because I'm going to harass her the whole.
All right, so
like Amber, you should pick here.
She said, "Dang, busted myself out." All right, so if you're enjoying the stream, one, Bob's awesome. these guys are awesome. And we will all in 6 weeks be at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio. 7 weeks, August. We're going to be at the NFL Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio, for the Fantasy Football Expo, and it is an absolute blast. You guys need to check it out. You need to be there. I'm going to let Bob say more right after this video.
You do not want to miss this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask all of you out there right now. I got 2 questions for you. Do you play fantasy football? And have you ever been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? If your answer is yes and no, there's absolutely 0 reasons that you should not be at that event, because we are all going to talk fantasy football all weekend. We're going to drink a lot. We're going to have a lot of fun. And we're going to learn a lot about fantasy football, not necessarily in that order. Tyler will be in that order, I guarantee it. But come to this event. It is a 3-day event. You come in on Friday. You hang out with us at the Centennial Plaza, which is built for the 100th anniversary in Canton, Ohio, which is where NFL was formed. If you don't know that history, you should look it up. Canton was born, the NFL was born in Canton, Ohio in 1920. Go read the story. That plaza is there for that. We have a big party there. We have a cornhole tournament. We have all kinds of fun things, lots of drinks, lots of food. Just hang out, meet new people, make new friends. It's a blast. Saturday, it's draft day. So draft night out, go sign up for that. We got the Kings Classic. Tyler's in that again this year as a champion. I will be there again as a non-champion. I'm going to make it someday, damn it. Anyway, we have a blast all day, lots of drafts, draft night out, Kings Classic in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We've got the Queens Classic. We've got the IDP Classic. This year, first ever Fans Classic. So we will have 14 fans representing all of our sites that are going to draft, and the winner will receive an all-expense-paid trip in 2026 to the Expo and will sit beside their favorite expert during the Kings Classic. So you fans out there, if you haven't got your chosen yet, start kissing your fan's butt or your expert's butt. Anyway, Saturday night party, M-bar/jerseys. Going to take over 2 full bars, all kinds of TVs, all kinds of craft beers, all kinds of great food. It's going to be fantastic. We'll have a DJ outside. We'll have lots of fun. Again, hang out and have a great time. Sunday is the big expo in the 100,000 square foot infield indoor field, kind of one of those air domes. It's all held up by air. We have 50 trade show booths. We have 3 different stages with every different panel you can think of, from Devi to Dynasty to Redraft to IDP, DFS, best ball, everything you ever wanted to learn. Sport, lots of sports betting, all kinds of product demos. You got to see these cool products these people are bringing to the event. They're so cool. I can't even, if you get a chance, go to the Expo YouTube channel and watch some of the Expo interviews and some of the people some of their new apps and new games they've got coming out. Super cool stuff. All August 8th through the 10th, Canton, Ohio. We're all going to be there. Tyler and his gang are the title sponsor once again this year. We love them. They just take over the town. They're helpful. They're friendly. They love to drink. But we'll get back to that. And it's going to be a great time. And then Sunday night, you got to stick around Sunday night, because that is the after party karaoke event at the hotel. So make sure you check that out. Leave Monday. You'll be happy you did, because your liver will need a break. It'll be a lot of fun. So do not miss this. Go get your tickets, thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Follow us on Twitter at the FF Expo as well. Thank you.
I did put a link in the chat if you want a direct link to go buy your tickets. It is there. Go purchase those. Come hang out with us. It is a blast. We do have a good time. And, of course, we draft like crazy. We do fantasy football. Think about you when you do your draft with your friends, right? And then multiply it times 1,000. And then, there's no words. It's elite.
And I think something to point out about it, Tyler, too, is it's like, and this was my first Expo was last year, and I think there's this misconception of like, oh, like I don't create content, like I don't do these things, like the Expo is not for me. Like I had a blast last year. I made a lot of friends. Johnny and his boy on his show, Nick Wilcox, my dog. We were pretty much together the whole weekend. I drove them around and basically chauffeured them through Canton. I hung out with like the crew here, and now I'm doing stuff and working at the Fantasy Football Advice Network. So it's really not just for creators, not just for people that are on websites that like it's a very open environment, and all of those people are super cool and approachable. Even the ones that carry belts around the whole time. So.
So speaking of draft, speaking of fantasy football, speaking of the Expo, back to what we're all excited about. And now we're going to talk sleepers. Sleepers, the guys that you need to get that nobody else is thinking about. Johnny, man, start us out. Who is your number one sleeper this season?
Well, no cap. It was literally what Joe was just talking about. Jacoby Meyers was the guy that I had went with. That was literally the guy. That was one of my, that was one of the guys. But so I'll pivot to another guy that he might not have a lot of value initially up front, but it's somebody that I think is going to be able to provide some value for you later on in the season, and that's Jordan Mason. And one of the reasons why I'm looking at Jordan Mason later on in drafts, Aaron Jones is one of the oldest running back. Actually, I think he is the oldest running back in the NFL. He just came off of 300 touches last year. And there's still 120 or so touches potentially out there for Jordan Mason. Before McCaffrey went down last year, he was 9th in the league in rushing in that San Francisco offense. So there is a possibility that he could give you some upside with an Aaron Jones injury. Aaron Jones, I think he's only played 17 games 2 times in his 8-year career. So for me, that's a guy that, later on in drafts, depending obviously the size of your league, that's a guy that I'm looking at with a little bit of potential upside later on.
The other thing that's interesting about Aaron Jones is that he's one of those guys that he might not miss games per se, but he misses 3/4 of the game.
Yes.
Which is very frustrating. So you look at the sheet and it's oh yeah, he played 16 games. But I remember last season, it was what happened to him? He had 30 yards in the first drive and then just vanished.
Then he's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's that offense, man. Kevin O'Connell, I'm in love with everything he does, man. So to leave with some Vikings players is definitely one of the things that's on my agenda, man.
Love it. Man, that's a wild one. He is not on my list, but I will take notes. I will take notes. I'm going to write it on my sheet of paper. Now, all right, Joe, give us a sleeper.
All right, so I don't know why this guy is a sleeper, but he is. I think part of it is because of Matt Harmon and the awesome stuff that he does. But because of it, fantasy football people get all bricked up about charts and forget sometimes football is just about what's happening on the field. So my sleeper for the day is Michael Pittman Jr. If you look at the Indianapolis Colts, so everybody's well, what's going to happen? Oh, obviously now they have Tyler Warren. Oh, they have this darling Josh Downs, who's this 3rd-year guy. But let's not forget Michael Pittman. If you look at the last 4 years, he's cleared 100 targets each of the last 4. In 2023, when he didn't have a broken back, he had 156 targets, right? So it's he still had 111 with a broken back. Let me just remind you again, he broke his back last year, and he had played 16 games, 111 targets, was courtesy of Anthony Richardson had a tough year. So we have all this stuff happening with, Josh Downs, this, Warren, that. But it's Pittman's still there. He's 27 years old. He's wide receiver 51 right now.
Wow, 51.
What are we doing here? There's no risk to drafting him, all upside. And if it's he's washed, the injuries don't work out, you're not burning capital. But the guys around him Cooper Kupp missed me with that. Keon Coleman, don't believe it. Like Rashad Bateman, like, yeah, your next team, you might be able to do something. Christian Kirk, like, no, thank you. So it's like, yeah, like, give me any of those guys. Like, it's like, no way. I'm taking Pittman every time.
Yeah, so got a question.
He's basically free.
Yeah. Question in the chat: who's going to be throwing him the football, Joe?
Daniel Jones, who's going to be probably a really good quarterback in that system because he can run.
He'd be better than Anthony Richardson,
Yes,
but
sir.
I don't know how good.
Yes, sir.
But I think that it fits to his skill set better, like than what was happening with the Giants. So it's like, is he going to be a good real life quarterback? No, but Daniel Jones does run the ball, so he does.
Well, I'd say, If you're in a 2 quarterback league, Daniel Jones is a great 3rd quarterback pick.
Yeah,
because he might, with his legs and the fact that the Colts stink, will be certainly following him around.
I need to pull up the stat, but I got a really interesting Daniel Jones stat for Brent. I just need to pull it up. I wasn't expecting to talk about him in a recap. So
nobody is. It's like the Spanish Inquisition. Nobody expects
it. It's amazing.
All right. So if you look at player profilers, kind of like advanced stats, Daniel Jones was actually the highest rated accuracy against man and zone. The problem is
he throws it 4 yards.
That and
the Wandell.
he had nobody to really throw it to. But if you look at like his catchable pass rate, 74.8%, he's 17th in the league. So I think he's one of those people that, like, from a dynasty perspective, I would be trying to buy Daniel Jones. Like, I know we're not really doing the dynasty thing today, but he's a player whose value is going to increase.
How is he now? 28, 30?
Let's see. He is 28. Just turned 28.
Yeah. So he's not that old. I mean, yeah, you're right. From a dynasty perspective, again, give somebody a bag of rocks and a 6-pack, and you'd probably get him for him.
Chef said Jones and Leonard can have a roll off the bat to preserve A-Rich. They could be goal line running backs for Indy. I mean, maybe so. All right, Bob, give us your sleeper. Who is it? I'm taking notes. I'm going to win the Kings Classic.
Well, first off, the Colts are going to tank for Arch, so they have another Manning. That's what I feel.
He's not coming out till 27, I don't think.
Okay, they'll take the next year. They're going to keep sucking until they get him.
All
right, so I'm going to ask you guys this question. Other than T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, what other team has 2 wide receivers ADP in the top 20?
Top 20
wide receivers.
Top 20.
Oh, the Rams. Yeah, the Rams. Yeah,
Rams. Yeah.
Where's Matthew Stafford listed at?
Yes.
Folks, you want to talk about a sleeper quarterback? I mean, you're drafting him as your QB2, no question. You're going to get him, I don't know, 12th round, 13th round. And he could end the year in the top 12, total points and consistency. Now, last year,
you get him later than that, man. In a one quarterback,
he might.
He's currently quarterback 24 on Underdog.
Yeah, so he almost has fell out of the QB2, and this guy has 2 wide receivers with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua with an ADP in the top 20, and yet this guy is ranked that far down. How does that happen? But that's the way it is. Nobody likes the old guys.
Yeah, it's the old guys.
Drafting the old guys.
It's the age cliff narrative.
It is. You're damn straight it is. If it's not a shiny new toy, we ain't taking him.
Well, I think the other thing with Stafford too is he doesn't have that rushing upside. So I think
he doesn't. Neither does Joe Burrow.
Right, for sure. Right. But I think, like, if you think about, like, something that I really like that Andrew Cooper does with his tight ends, he says, like, the yin and the yang. Like, he takes something that has the high upside, you have, like, the safe play. Like, if you think about, like, your quarterback construction like that, like, Matt Stafford is that perfect person to be like, hey, like, I need something this week. He's going to give you that. He's not going to have, like, a 3-point game.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. That's where he comes into play. Now, like I said, last year, his consistency, okay, not great. But you got to remember, Cooper Kupp missed a lot. Puka Nacua missed a lot. They had to rely on Kyner Williams running the ball a lot. So it wasn't a typical year. But they went out and got Devontae Adams to go on the other side of Puka. I don't know who plays tight end. It might be Tyler Higbee again. But you got Kyron Williams, who's still running the ball well. I mean,
he's still almost threw for 4,000 yards and was still better than 20,
exactly.
right? If he's 24,
the Rams defense is not very good. They play in the division with the 49ers, the Seahawks, Cardinals. They're going to put up some points. They're going to put up some air. I'm probably going to draft him as my QB2 every league I'll be in. In fact, I was doing a mock draft for Chicago for this weekend. And I think Stafford was like 15th round.
Yeah.
To your point, Stafford, this is the first year really that Stafford has had another go up and get it in the red zone type. Like he hasn't had that since Calvin Johnson. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't had a big guy that he can get it up to in the end zone. He's had a lot of these slot guys, hit him in the gaps, move him around. Now he's going to have somebody that he can throw that corner route to. They can go up with some hands and bring it down, which is a bonus because we've seen it. He's good that way, right? Yeah. And so it was a good offset because I felt like with Puka and Kupp, they had a very similar tandem, right? Like very similar players. And it gave him a difference. I love that take, and he's basically free.
The other thing, too, is Stafford is one of the best play-action pass quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah.
With Kyren Williams running the ball as well as he does, man, that just opens it up to let them just – it just frees so much up when Kyren Williams is running well. And I expect him to do well. I don't know if they're going to give him the money before the year starts. If they don't, holy shit. Yeah. Because Williams is going to go out there and bust his butt and get the money, get paid. And,
which traditionally the Rams money pay, but I hope he gets the money.
Well, again, I don't know if he's going to get, what he hopes to get, but he's going to get a hell of a lot more than he's making right now. I guarantee that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Johnny, you got another sleeper for us tonight?
Yeah, man. Somebody you said that was watching. I think Frick might have been with me on this one, but Ramondre Stevenson later on.
Gosh,
and later on, man.
I agree.
Later on, man. Later on here, and obviously I got my stuff here with me, man. So
later on, like first week fab.
I mean, he's going double-digit rounds right now, right? And if we're approaching it, attacking wide receivers the way that the way you were talking about earlier, these are definitely some options here later on. So obviously the Patriots were really bad last year. Ramondre was still a top 12 back in forced missed tackles last year for the Pats. He's still going to get carries for sure. Trayvon Henderson, obviously, he's going to be playing in the passing game for sure, man. But he still had 7 touchdowns last year. And if you can get this guy like in the 10th round, man, like we're talking about the 10th round, like for most rosters are filled at that point. I'm willing to take a stab on a guy like that in double-digit rounds that's still going to be on the field. And if you believe the Patriots are going to be improving, I'll take him as a flex play, man.
Or he's a handcuff to Trayvon.
Yeah, either or. Because like with Josh McDaniels,
that would be what I would do if I grab Trayvon. I'm just going to get him as 5 rounds later as the handcuff.
Right. It's a cheaper option, and you're right. Like the handcuff piece, and he's somebody who he's gonna play.
It's not every day you handcuff your RB1 to your RB2, but there you are.
Stop.
Johnny, I'm gonna battle back for a second, okay? I'm gonna battle back.
Oh man. Hold on, let me give him the belt.
Look. All right. I'm out on Ramondre, and this is why. Okay, an underperforming Antonio Gibson goes there last year and outperforms him in almost every single metric. Ramondre hasn't averaged over 4 yards a carry in the last 2 years. Last year, Antonio Gibson, who started to take work from him, averaged over 4 yards a carry on the season, and he had 120 touches last year. Yeah. 120 touches, 530 yards. So when you see, and we saw it towards the end, if you see Antonio Gibson starting to take work, right, and neither one of those running backs are really healthy, but to say like he's guaranteed, I don't think he's even guaranteed number 2. I think you have Trayvon Henderson, who averaged over 7 yards almost a carry in freaking Ohio State coming in that offense. And we know we know that the new coach loves to run the football, right? So it's possible, but I still think that there's people later that I want over him, even if it's late wide receiver grabs, if it's other handcuffs. I mean, you probably have Tony Pollard in the same range. I don't know for sure but I imagine it's pretty close. But I'm not. If Antonio Gibson's outperforming him, I'm not in.
Well, a couple of things, I'll say. Number one, they gave him the bag last year, so he's there. So there's that part of it. And I know you don't like it. I'm not a Ramondre Stevenson fan.
It's okay.
I'm just looking at it and saying hey, here's some value in the 10th round. That it's somebody that you can play and you can get flex. You can get flex out of them. And the other part of it I would say too is the play calling last year and what they've done to upgrade the offensive line. I think that's another element of things that you got to take into they did upgrade the offensive line. I'm not going to go all in on Steph Diggs, but they do obviously now have somebody else to play wide receiver. So I don't think it's as bad as you think, but it's probably not as good as it used to be either. So
the one thing that does give me hope is Vrabel. Vrabel likes to establish the run. I like that. I just think it's going to lean more Travion. I think you're going to get, if it's best ball, I don't mind it. I think you're just going to go. But to your point, we are entering a league, or we have seen the league kind of shift, right? Where you get two running backs, you get two people that are putting up numbers. You get your Monty and Gibbs. You get these tandems.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are doing that to give weight. So at any given week, we saw Ramondre punch some crucial ones in, towards the end of the season there. So I mean, late. It's not a bad sleeper. There's an inner loathing here.
I hate the Patriots, bro. I hate them. So for me to even go through this process and even say these words is gross to me. But the last thing I'll leave you with, he was hit on 56% of his carries behind the line of scrimmage. That number has to improve this year with what they did on the offensive line, man. It has to improve.
Lord,
man.
hope so. Lord, hope so. All right, so we're gonna move on from sleepers. It's kind of still sleepers, but we've got about 12 to 15 minutes here left in the show. So I want to try to get into our next section, which is saviors. These are people that you need to draft, and maybe you're going to let them ride the bench, or maybe they're going to provide for you here or there. But the idea is in the second half of the season, you're going to see a huge uptick, and they could be league winners for you, or maybe people even that you're targeting early in waivers, right? After a first few weeks, to where you can, you'll have that at the end of the season to win for you. And we see it every year. Somebody eventually takes over. Last year, I mean, everybody was so high on this Zach Moss in the Bengals that he was being drafted before Chase Brown, which was absolutely crazy. But and Bob, you're a smart one. If you took Chase Brown and you took him late and you held him, it wasn't very long at all before he started giving you the numbers you hope for. And, a lot of people are talking about that this year with somebody like Trey Benson even, so these are the type players and running backs. Running back's a key position, I think, in this section of the conversation because it is the most injury-prone position. But, even with wide receivers, we do see people start to tick up, start to make that sophomore jump, or start to make that late-season rise as the quarterback gets more comfortable. So, Bob, for you, and who's somebody that you think is going to provide that push towards the end of the season?
So I'm going to talk about two. One of them is obvious, but the other one is it's going to take probably a trade or something or somebody to get hurt and you'll have to change teams.
We're there.
So the first one is a gentleman last year who was 25th in total points, so just outside RB2, 25th in consistency as well. But he's the number 2 running back on his team, and that is Zach Charbonnet. As much as Kenneth Walker is by far the more talented running back, he is absolutely made of glass. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's already hurt in OTAs. How in the hell do you get hurt in OTAs? Did he
I hurt my back walking up the steps today, so I can't really
I know. Yeah. I broke a rib sneezing the other day. It's not fun.
Non-football related injury.
Is that real? Did you really break a rib sneezing? Oh, okay, so I was going to say, Bob.
But
probable?
as much as I love Kenneth Walker, as much as I love the fact that they got Clint Kubiak as their coach, or as their OC or whatever, this guy loves to run the ball. If Kenneth Walker could stay healthy for 15 games, he would be top 10. But he can't. He just can't. And like I said, I love this guy to death. Last year, he was 82%, 9 clutch games out of 11. So that means he missed 6 games. He's already got hurt in OTAs. And Charbonnet is just sitting back there. Nobody's drafting him unless you draft Kenneth Walker. He's RB 34 ADP wise. So if you want to go get Kenneth Walker, go do it. But by all means, make sure you get Charbonnet at least not more than maybe 2 or 3 rounds later, because somebody will snatch him up. The other guy was the guy that got replaced by a rookie last year, even though he was, I think, top 12 in fantasy the year before, and that is Rachaad White.
No.
Got replaced by a rookie who had a better year, but Rachaad White was still 21st in total points, 67% consistency, which was, again, top 20. There's already talk about Tampa Bay possibly trading him off to somebody who loses a star running back. There's talk about him being traded to the Cowboys because they're not sure that Javonte Williams is the man, which we all know he isn't. If you can get him now in drafts, and all you Scott Fish bowlers, I'm talking to you.
Whoa, my draft's on Sunday. Don't say it.
My draft's on Sunday too, because I think Chicago. Grab him, because he is a very talented young man. Bucky Irving, okay, he might be more talented. Maybe he is. He certainly had a better year, but I just don't know what's going to happen there. But the rumors are already starting to float that Dallas might be thinking about going after him if Tampa Bay and them can work out a deal. If he goes to Dallas and he's the number 1, you could see him do what he did 2 years ago, which was top 12. That could be one of your savers. Now, if they if you trade him now, by the time you get to draft season in August, well, of course that's changed. But for you Scott Fish bowlers, might be worth a 12th round pick, 13th round pick, somewhere in there. So you don't get any points for blocking, Kevin. Scott Fish does a lot of weird shit, but blocking is not points.
He might now that we've talked about it. He's spoken into existence. Like points per pancake.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Those are solid. What about you, Joe?
All right, so let's dig deep into the archives. So I hate that we're talking so much about the Patriots, but
nobody was talking about the Patriots except Johnny. That's
well,
no. There
was
no so much of anything. There was just Johnny talking about Ramondre.
Us Steeler fans need to stick together. The player that I think is going to provide you that later season value is Stephon Diggs. So people are really banking on the Drake.
I have a question. What did it have to do with the Steelers?
They're the bane of our existence, really.
Oh,
they cheated us out of glory, man. Bane of our existence. But so he's wide receiver 45 right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at what he did last year before he got hurt, he had
pictures on the boat.
Yeah. So, yeah. Hey, a little Coke never hurt anybody. It's
who's snorting pink Coke now?
Everyone.
Okay.
Yes.
It's really going down.
All your friends are doing it.
My Coke was always white.
Or really, really good feels on this call.
Okay.
Mexican Coca-Cola, delicious.
All right.
Oh my God.
But if you look, I mean, he popped most weeks when he was in Houston before the injury.
Mm-hmm.
He got paid in New England. If you are saying that Drake May is going to take the step forward in year 2, they paid him to be the number 1. People are so charged up about rookie fever. Kyle Williams is like the 5th receiver on the depth chart right now, and they've already slated him in as like wide receiver 1.
Crazy.
Right?
No.
So it's like if you look at drafts right now, Kyle Williams is wide receiver 58. He's only 10 or 15. He's 13 picks behind Diggs right now. Diggs, when he gets healthy enough, he's probably going to start slow. He's probably going to need to get up to speed because of the injury. But once he does, they're going to force the ball to him because he's going to get mad and throw a tantrum if he doesn't. And who else are they going to throw it to? Hunter Henry? He led the team in targets last year.
Yes. Yes.
No, they're going to throw it to Ramondre.
I was going to say he's going to be a check down. He had 33 of them things last year, man.
Did you listen to him? Come on.
Oh, man.
You guys ignoring Johnny over here?
Oh, man.
No, I mean, I'm with you. So last year, before he got hurt, he was 75% consistent in the first 8 games. He was 6 out of 8 in Houston with Nico Collins. So, yeah, he caught the ball. So, you're right. He's the only one there. I mean, I have him in my undervalue in the book. So, I'm all in on –
I haven't even read it yet.
That late, especially after the bullshit on the boat. Now everybody hates him. Like, oh, he's got to get suspended, blah, 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 blah. Like, whatever. He was handing out Pez sticks. Come on.
There's so many people that need to be suspended that still won't. So it's like he's like 30 people down the list.
Yeah.
Like they haven't even figured out what they're doing, like Jameson Williams and Rashee Rice yet. So like he's got like 2 more seasons still.
Yeah. They're still worried about whether Shador Sanders is speedy.
Yeah, right. I was about to say.
All right, make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button. Johnny Man, let us know what's up.
Last one for me. Going to Cleveland with Cedric Tillman. Yeah. See, finally, man. Finally, I got your blessing, man. I can go to sleep tonight, man. Damn, I'm out here trying, baby. No, like Cedric Tillman, man, he was crushing it last year before he got hurt. And the Browns, like, I know we all have, like, I know what they want to do. We all know they want to run the ball, but last year I'm pretty sure they were in the top 2 or top 3 at pass attempts last year, and it's probably going to be something very similar for them again this year. They're probably going to be leading the league in passing attempts due to game script. So for me, Cedric Tillman is the guy that I'm cool with absolutely taking a stab on him. Right now, it looks like he's going in almost like the 14th round of drafts. So he's the guy that like you can hang on to. You can see what happens. We don't know about Jerry Jeudy. We don't know about the quarterback situation. Is it Shador? Is it Joe Flacco? Who's it going to be?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh my God. Yeah.
he's got bigger hands than me. I can't say nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a guy that was absolutely eating up targets before the injuries and stuff, man. So give me a flyer on Cedric Tillman in round 14, round 15, and let's see what happens after week 6.
Let me chime in from page 105, the consistency guide. Last year in weeks 1 through 6, Cedric Tillman earned 3.4 total fantasy points. Listen to me again. 3.4 total fantasy points in 6 weeks. When he got the chance in weeks 7 through 9, he was the number 1 wide receiver with 64.5 points in those 3 weeks. And then they changed quarterbacks again, and he never got a chance to do it again. You are 100% correct. This kid is talented, and if they get a real quarterback, I don't care if it's Flacco, I don't care who it is. If they get somebody that has enough talent to get him the ball, Tillman is a stud. He is such a late pick, like practically free.
Shout out UT, baby. Let's go.
Speaking of UT, is Jalen Hyatt going to do anything this year?
You think he's going to be on the team after camp?
I don't know. That was the question. Let's throw it out there.
One trick pony, man. I guess they were
right. Well, here's the thing. What is the one thing that Russell Wilson does well? Moonball. What is the one thing that Jalen Hyatt does well? Run fast in a straight line.
Yeah.
The match made in heaven.
Look, I just wanted to stir the pot before the end of the show here. We got Andre. Have a good night. Antoine, look, hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. We are here for you every Friday night at 9 o'clock Central, Johnny, Bob, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys go and check out the Expo, fantasyfootballexpo.com. Link is in there. Make sure you go check out the consistency guide. That thing is full of
On
juice.
Amazon.
It is on Amazon, and we'll put the link in the comments after the show. But again, thank you. Much love for all you that are here with us every Friday night. We will not be here next week because it is July 4th, and we know y'all would rather watch fireworks with your family than hang out with us.
I really don't think so.
But we will be back the week after with some heat. So have a good night from the forum, 9 o'clock always. See ya.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySports